Yeah, week 2 here in the big. Looking forward to being back at home. Kind of a unique challenge playing back-to-back nights against two good opponents. So a little bit of a longer practice week, which we're looking forward to, and getting to spend some time in some important areas. I liked our week last week and the development we had. It was strange when it came to the matches. I think told some of you guys we had a loss that felt like a win and a win that felt like a loss. So a little bit of a strange scenario there, but a lot of information telling us that we're getting better, especially in serve receive and out of system attacking, which are really important December things that are going to matter. So just excited to be back practicing.
Are your players responding to this sort of staying focused on the progress and not getting caught up in the results-based economy?
Yeah, the competitive people took them a while. I thought post Nebraska, looking at them and their faces and their determination and just their overall emotions, I thought it was the most mature response I'd seen from them. Like they were ready to practice the next day. I didn't see dejection or emotions. I just saw they were understanding, that we were in a position to win at least 2 of those sets, and then all 3 sets were competitive. And so I liked, what I saw on them for the first time after one of our losses. I thought, all right, this team's ready to work. Yeah.
When you're playing a sport that has such a small variance, when you're talking about not just points but maybe touches or small moments, how have you learned to kind of highlight those in your career, and how are you doing that this season, especially after a match where you did have 2 really tight sets that could have gone your way?
Yeah, sometimes the percentages in data and math give you a little reprise from what seems like randomness, but other times you're like, wow, we should have won that 90% of the time, and we didn't. And so and it goes both ways. But I think we forced an overpass in that third set at 21 all or 22 all and didn't capitalize on that. We forced them way out of system again later on in that third set, and they were able to kind of get themselves out of it. So passionate about finishing plays that we start off well with good serving. That's probably where I'm at.
Keegan, what is kind of the mindset of this group right now? I mean, you're 5-5. It seems like every time you win, then you lose, win, lose. So it's kind of tough to generate the momentum there. What is the mindset now heading into the gauntlet of league play?
Yeah, I think the vision that we're talking about is just is our process consistent, right? In terms of what does Monday look like, Tuesday look like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you want to have consistent results, you have to have consistent behaviors. And so I like what we settled into last week. I like how we're set up this week. I like what I'm seeing from players day to day in terms of how they're communicating and how they're working. I'm confident that the results are going to follow from that.
It seems a little unusual for a team that's 5-5 to be a top 15 team in the country. Do you feel like you're better than your record would indicate?
Yeah, records, it's all based on who you play, right? We could have gone about it a totally different way and scheduled totally different teams and had a totally different record. So we know who we are. We know that we've played a great schedule and we'll continue to play great teams. But yeah, I think everyone sees it as it is inside the locker room for sure.
Keegan, I know Michigan's record is what it is, first-year coaching staff there, but they still got some weapons. What do they look like? What jumps out to you?
Yeah, the question for me is just health. I think that they've had to battle through adversity health-wise, just different players in and out of the lineup. So people seem to get healthy before they play us. That seems to be a trend, or all coaches think that's what happens to them, right? So I expect them to show up and perform well. They don't look like they're giving up or dejected. So that's what I see in them kind of in the early looks. Yeah.
How do you balance from a coaching standpoint those back-to-backs, with a good team like Penn State on the other side?
Yeah, I expect to use our depth. We talked about this in August. These are the kinds of weekends where if you've got depth, you better use it, to make sure that you're in a good position to play up to 10 sets of volleyball in 24 hours. So this week in practice, we'll be looking at all of our options to make sure we can get through the weekend with everyone healthy.
Something kind of fun about playing at home on homecoming weekend?
This is fun to play in here every week. That's what I've learned here. Just the consistency of the support, the energy. It's easy to come to work early and you stay here late just because the PAV is what it is. And so, looking forward to giving the community some results that they'd like.
Is there anything about this team that now that maybe you didn't 10 matches ago, or?
Oh yeah.
What specifically?
What specifically that I'll tell you.
Or is it what you thought it might be?
No, it's never what you think it is. I think that's one thing people forget is it's never the season you think it'll be. It's never the job you think it'll be. The adversities are never what you predict. We're all really good and bad at fortune telling in terms of what's going to happen. But it's the right people, and that's what I felt after the Nebraska match. Is these are the right people in this room, and we're gonna keep working.
Anything else for Keegan?
set.
All right.
Thanks, Keegan.
Getting more comfortable, in your opinion, do you feel like you're seeing progress match to match here?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we've been working on a few things, obviously, from last time I talked to you guys. And I mean, it'll slowly keep all coming together. It won't be perfect ever because it's not a thing. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than I think our first game, and then I think it's a lot better than preseason. So I mean, all we have to do is keep working on it.
Do you feel like the sort of trajectory is that this progress is getting into your teammates, getting into you, and that you're feeling like there's growth and, I don't know if you want to say it like this, but better outcomes coming because of that?
Yeah, I think we can see it obviously like tangibly in film. We can see it with Keegan when we're watching film. Me and Taylor watch film together a lot. I mean, we can see it from the stats that people are hitting better, have better numbers in certain rotations that we weren't having before in preseason because of the things we're working on and like things we're deciding to run. I mean, a better outcome, yeah, I think so. I think it's growing, and I hope we project it continues to grow. So, yeah.
When you're getting ready to sort of, I don't know how you want to, how I'm going to phrase it this way. Your competition has been so intense early on. You're going to enter a stretch of the season here where maybe you don't see, a top 5 ranked team for a period of time.
Yeah.
Is this a time for you to focus internally, or like how do you try to maintain the level of intensity that you've had at the start of the season?
I think for me, I've been saying this for a couple of years now, but my goal is to come out here and be the best person I can be for the team, whether that's serving, defensively, playing better in the front row, and setting, obviously. So for me, my internal focus, I think, always is how am I going to be able to be myself and be the best version of myself for the team, because at the end of the day, I think if I don't want to focus too much internal, because that could honestly turn into something we don't like. It could end up being more negative for ourselves than we really want. So focusing on what I can do to help the betterment of the team allows me to project like my emotions and energy on other people, hopefully more positively than I probably talk to myself. So I think not seeing a top 5 team, I don't think it's going to be a break. The Big Ten is the Big Ten. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone we're about to play is in the top 25 or almost in the top 25. So I think it'll be a good test for us to see if we can stay consistent without having like a thought of like, oh, we're playing number 2 Nebraska tonight, but like number whatever Penn State is. I think it'll be a good challenge for us to just stay pretty consistent for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, what is kind of that mindset now that you enter sort of the gauntlet of the Big Ten? After you start 5-5, it seems like you win one, you lose one, you win one, you lose one. It's kind of hard to generate the momentum when you're not getting the consistent wins. Just what is kind of that mindset at entering league play?
Yeah, I think consistently we're not getting the wins, but in film and stuff, consistently we are growing in like the areas we wanted to improve on. So I think, well, a lot of people probably don't know like what we're working on as a team. We are improving in the areas we're training and focusing on for that week or that game or whatever the circumstances is. So I think it is a little bit rocky right now with like the back and forth, but I think we played well against Nebraska. They just played better at certain points in the game, and I think with that we took a lot of stuff out of it. Iowa played good. We played good against Iowa too, and I think even though it's like back and forth with wins and losses, necessarily I don't think we're looking at it like that right now, because we are growing and like the parts we're deciding to focus on that certain week. So is
there anything that you've learned about yourself through these first 10 matches that maybe you didn't know at the start of the season, as a team in general?
Yeah, myself, I'm still trying to figure out. We have like 5 hitters going at one time, so I'm still learning a bunch of decision-making things, I think. I'm probably learning a bunch of other things I don't even realize, because that's just what I'm focusing on right now, because you're never done learning in this game, even if you end up going to the Olympics or whatever. I mean, you're never done learning. I think as a team, we're definitely becoming a better team. I think volleyball-wise, our skills are there. I think from the last couple of years, that's what we've been really needing to work on. And I think with Keegan, it's a little bit bigger emphasis on like how are we going to work together on our side of the net team-wise, because we have the skills, we have the people that came in, we have the transfers. So I think right now that's our focus still for the games.
Melani, I've heard a few analysts mention this, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Do you feel like the gap is kind of shortening between the teams who are traditionally in the top of the Big Ten and maybe some of those like mid-tier teams like Iowa? Do you feel like that gap is kind of shortening a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think obviously we just went 5 with Iowa. It was the best game I've ever played against them. I mean, I think with the transfer portal and a bunch of stuff going on, with everyone being able to switch and go places and all the new coaches, I think there's endless opportunities in the Big Ten, and I think no night in the Big Ten is an easy night, so home or away. I think it's a battle all the way around just because of how many people are moving around, and there's a lot of good athletes everywhere. Not that there weren't before, but there's just a lot more all over instead of just at a couple of schools now.
Anything else for Melanie? All set?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, how do you personally balance sort of maybe trying to gauge progress as a team versus the feelings you have about maybe losing a really tight match?
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to win every game, but it's just not possible always. And so trying to balance that, like you said, it's like we may not be getting the results that we want, but seeing the progress is so important. And I think regardless of the outcome of that last game, we've made so much progress, and like it's a good thing that we still have room to grow. We don't want to be at our peak right now. So to know that we can come in the gym and still continue to learn and grow and improve our game it's exciting, and it's like I like it. I like being on this end of it because there's so much room to get better and for teams to worry about us.
Do you feel like you're inching closer to a place where you're going to say it's time to start feeling that energy of getting some wins and building
Absolutely.
up? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every day. I mean, it's tough to like feel that sometimes, like while you're in practice, but then when we get to perform and do see those improvements and do see what we're working on like come to light, it's really cool and it's rewarding, and it keeps us coming back in the gym and striving to get better and to keep learning.
Is it possible to when you're playing a schedule like you've had, I think 7 out of 10,
Yeah.
15 teams, it's like
Yeah.
day after day, week after week.
Yeah.
Is there a way to carry that energy into a stretch of season where you're going to see maybe teams that don't have that pedigree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's why we had that schedule, is so that we are ready, like Keegan said, and wanted for us. So I don't know. I just think it's important to do that, although you may not get the results that you want, like we talked about, but there's so much to learn from it. And if you can like take those pieces to learn from it rather than just like viewing the results, like there's a lot of positive things and lots of positive energy that can come from that if you view it the right way.
Now that you've gone through that stretch, like you said, playing a bunch of ranked teams, you're 5-5. It seems like every time you win, then you lose.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to generate momentum that way. What's kind of the mindset heading into the gauntlet of the Big Ten?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just like, how can we get better? How can we keep improving? What do we need to do now? What do we need to do next? I think just keep looking forward. I think if we sit and dwell on the results, then we're not going to improve. And so I think just trying to keep looking to the future rather than in the past is how we're kind of getting through it.
Is there something that you guys have learned about yourselves through these first series of matches that maybe you didn't know before you started playing that you can carry into league play?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we just have to be ourselves at all time. It can't be conditional, and our commitment cannot be conditional, and it has to be there every single time, no matter who we're playing, what day of the week it is, what time it is. And I think that's something that we've learned and that we know that we have to do to compete at the highest level.
How are you operating in your role alongside your teammates in the back row? What are you trying to help them with? What are you trying to help them see?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get them to have that courage to go get that ball or stand in front of that hard hitter and just take it, because that's what it's all about. It's all about grit and it's about heart. And so I'm just trying to give them the I'm trying to empower them to do that and know that they're capable of that, because I think in the past maybe they thought like, oh, that's too hard, or no, like if you put your mind to it, like they're always like, how did you take that ball? And I'm like, because you just got to go for it. And so I'm just trying to empower them to go for it more and take those big risks, because those, although it doesn't always work out, it does come with a lot of benefits and rewards. So
what about you personally? Are you still kind of finding your place in this, defensive system?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I think that joining a new team, there's always stuff to be learning. And after, 2 or 3 months now, you could say, like, okay, I'm happy where I'm at. But I think I'm not that kind of person, and I want to keep learning, and I want to keep doing better for the team. So as we adjust one thing, things might look different for me. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can be the best defender and best teammate possible, no matter where we're at on the defensive side.
Anything more for Kylie? You're all set.
Thanks.
Thank you.